Hey guys, welcome to our first Beyond the Method podcast. In the first episode, we have AVI YAP, who has been a very good friend of mine for a long time. AVI has been blowing me away for many years with his crazy sleight of hand, his coin magic, and even some really good card stuff. In the episode, we talk about his view on using pure sleight of hand versus using gimmicks, and he shares with us a great story of the first time he ever did magic for David Copperfield. I think it's a really fun episode, and I can't wait for you to get into this. Please enjoy Beyond the Method, and let us know if there's anyone that you would like on this podcast. With that being said, get a nice cup of coffee and enjoy the episode. So Ava, welcome to the podcast. You are my first guest, and hopefully not my last one, because we screw up.
Shit, so you're putting the pressure on me now.
Like this is literally the pressure. Like, if it's gonna be good, we're gonna do more. But if you screw up, like, there's no podcast after this.
Well, I should do a really bad job then, so I can be the one.
Yeah, but do you want to have it on your conscience that you literally wasted your friend's money on like recording equipment and other stuff?
Well,
it's like, maybe that's a fun thing to do. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, right? Well, okay. Well, in comparison, having the conscience that I'm the only guest in the show, I don't know. Maybe I can leave with those odds.
Fair enough. So, how have you been? Like, you seem very busy lately.
Yes, I have. It's just work nonstop ever since I think December last year. Now it's June already, and I finally got about a week or two rest, which is great. I mean, the past 6 months is just nonstop, like without. Like there's like I have no concept about weekends or weekdays. It's just
I mean, especially because you're following someone else's schedule, I would assume.
Yeah, definitely. If it was my schedule, it wouldn't be like that. But no, I'm following someone's schedule, so it's my time is his pretty much, and I'm just trying to work at trying to get him to where he wants to go.
That's fair enough.
I'm consulting. That's why.
So, like, I know one thing that we have in common in Magic is, like, we both have a martial arts background. So, like, you come from martial arts, and I think for me at least, like, that had a lot of influence on my Magic. And the way that I approach things and the way, like, the importance I put towards the basics, you know, like, when we were still training, like, we would every session just, like, start with the same stuff, like everyone, the whole group. Doesn't matter if you're the beginner or the black belt, you start doing the same stuff. And then you slowly start splitting off into smaller groups to practice more and more advanced stuff. But I think for me, that had like a really big influence on like the way I approach Magic. How's that for you?
Well, I would say it's the exact same. I mean, one thing I often speak about is the importance of practice. And I know before we were on this like official podcast, you were still roasting me about how in Blackpool, and I was doing my lecture, and someone's like, "Hey, Ava, I'm doing this thing that you're doing, which is void the Harada whole thing that I do." Someone raised his hand and said, like, "Hey, Ava, do you have any tips on how to do it better?" And that was the question that literally followed after like 20 minutes or 10 minutes of me explaining all the ins and outs. For me, I mean, I don't mean any offense, but it just naturally came out. I'm like, practice. But I mean, jokes aside, I really think that I think when it comes to practice, the martial arts background really helped a lot. And it's something that unfortunately I don't see too much within magicians. And let me further expand. So, like for example, like you mentioned, right? When it's like martial arts or something, you go to your training academy, right? Your training hall, you practice, and you practice. Even if you're an advanced or an expert, you would still do like all the warm ups, the basics first, and then slowly, like even every session, you would do that. Like it's almost like a routine that you have to go through. And then, but for Magic, a lot of I wouldn't say youngsters now because I'm still young.
So old,
I don't want to keep myself in the young group, but shut up. But like I mean, there are. I think it's very common in magicians that when they try something, um, and maybe after like a week or something, if it doesn't work out for them, I'm not saying that they're not trying to practice, but like they tend to. I see this rather common. It's rather common sight where they will try practicing, and then if it doesn't work for them in a week, they would just stop, and they'll say like, "This is not for me. Like it's too difficult. It's too impractical." They will conclude that it's impractical because they can't do it. And I'm also not saying that difficult stuff is always going to be practical. Obviously, it depends on the kinds of shows that you do, whether is it like a proper show or is it like just like for me, I always say I'm not a magician, but like I'm more like a hobbyist. I'm more like a technician where I get to perform not as a job, but I get to perform whenever I like. So I get to pick to choose the right situations. So I like to do difficult stuff. And in terms of how martial arts helped with my practice is whenever I'm doing something difficult or I'm practicing something difficult, if I can't do it, it's already instilled in my brain. It's just because I haven't practiced enough. I would never say
Right,
that, oh,
right.
this is not for me. That's why I won't practice. No, no. I would look at it. I know that this thing fits my style of performance. And then once I decided that, before starting to practice, once I decide that this is going to work for me, I'm just going to go. I'm going to practice. And I think that's how I started Coin Magic. Like most people started Coin Magic with like, I don't know, uh, David Roth, Bobos or something like that. But for me, when I started, I didn't know the concept of like what's the level in terms of Coin Magic. And I saw Ponce the Smith like DVD. And to me, I'm like, oh, that's great. So let me just try and do that. And then obviously it's really difficult stuff. But at that time I wouldn't know because that was my first point of entry. And I was like, shit, is Coin Magic always just this difficult? Okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna practice. And then I practice, and then over some time I managed to do it. And then when I started to go to conventions, and I mean those were all I could do. Like, I didn't know other repertoire. Then all my other friends were like, wow, I'm amazed how you could do all this, but can you do this like simple stuff? And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And you're like, are you kidding me? And then when when I started to learn other simpler routines, I'm like, shit, has Coin Magic always been so easy? Like, what's going on? So I mean, I'm not trying to encourage people who wants to start Coin Magic to go to Ponte the Smith like stuff. But what I'm saying is that um, because of martial arts, I've always thought that in terms of practicing and difficulty of level, it's just discipline. I think that would sum it up the best. It's not just practice, but like the mindset, the discipline that you have put in, which is something that I stand really proud of. Whenever I practice something, I really drill it in and I try and push it as far as I can. Yeah, but also I think a note to myself: I need to know when to stop. I think that's important
It's
as
so
well.
funny that you say that actually, because I was always joking with a friend of mine like that plays guitar. We were like, yeah, just imagine that someone can play like Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix, but like is unable to play any other song. You know, this is sort of the equivalent of that, of you just going to a convention and being like, yeah, I can do all this weird Ponta the Smith stuff. But wait, what's a French drop?
Huh? Well, you're not too far from it because there I could do this. I mean, I was practicing all this stuff like the Ponte the Smith vanish, right? All that stuff. But someone's like, "Hey, which retention do you use?" I'm like, What's a retention? You mean this?" Like
Yeah,
that, I would do it again,
yeah.
and then they're like, "No, no, 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 just a retention into finger palm." I'm like, I don't have one,"
Like what?
and they're like, "Yeah." So,
No, but
but
I
that was
also feel
fun. That was fun.
like you say you like the difficult stuff,
Yeah.
but like something people get
Hmm.
wrong, I think, is like they always go, yeah, yeah, that's the difficult stuff. But people think it's difficult for the sake of being difficult, like the ego boost, which of course can be
Hmm.
part of it. But I think you
Hmm.
also choose difficult
Yeah.
stuff because that makes it's there's a certain sense of beauty behind being able to do it, but also what it shows, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, in terms of difficult stuff, let's admit and not lie. It's a great ego booster to be able to pull off something so difficult in front of an audience
Of
under their
course.
nose without them knowing. I mean, that's great, especially for your peers who knows and appreciates how difficult it is. But I think for me, there is an important factor, which is we should be able to, or we should, be able to decide for ourselves if the effort is worth the effect. Just because something is difficult, you shouldn't like rush into it. Like, if it's difficult because it allows you to achieve a certain effect that none other methods or variations could, then by all means, right? Uh, but if it's not, then you're just unnecessarily making your life difficult.
I think
So,
that's the approach.
but yeah, I
I
mean,
think
I
that's the
I
approach I
love it.
always take towards it. Is like, okay, that's difficult, but is it the best method it could be, right? And if it happens to be the best method and it's very difficult, then yeah, we're gonna do that. But if, like, let's say that there is a gimmick card or a gimmick thing that is very reliable, because that's the most important thing for me, like the reliability.
Mhm.
I am actually a performer.
Of
That
course, yeah.
No, it's not like that, Ava. But yeah, no, like, like I do theater shows and stuff, and I
Yeah.
cannot have a gimmick fail on me
Yeah.
or be weird. And so the reliability is important. And sometimes the method is just 1,000 times more difficult with sleight of hand, but it's reliable. I know if I screw up, it's me. It's not the gimmick.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then I don't mean like, oh, I didn't
Mm.
practice with the gimmick, because it should. No, you also have to practice for gimmicks, but. But yeah, if there's an easier method to do it, why not? If it's as good, as beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I have, so I'm consulting now, and over the journey, I have seen numerous people do electronic stuff and just fail on stage, and they have no out, and that's the worst. So, and that's why I'm a strong, firm believer that the best magicians are the ones that are highly technical, but at the same time, gimmicks or technologies. Because I mean, maybe for card magic is they're not so much, but for coin magic, there is a huge divide in terms of purists who only do like hard hitting slides, pure sleight of hand. A different side of people who likes to do just gimmick work, craft work. But I think there needs to be a balance, and for me, it's only when you know both of them well, and you have the ability to be technical, but then I think Chris Kenner is the perfect example for this. I mean, Homer Lewak talks about this a lot, where uh, the reason why Chris is such a uh, mother because he is what Homer calls like a meat and potatoes guy. Like he always just uses real coins, no gaffs. Everything is very solid. He likes to click and clack the coins. Everything is all pure sleight of hand. But without you knowing, one fine day he might slip a gaff in there, and he would just blow your mind. Like those people are the kinds that
You would never even know that he slipped the
so
gaff into the thing.
exactly. It's there is this authentic, like organic feel to what he does, and then when he slips
But
a
that's
gaff in there,
interesting,
you
because
just
you're
don't
also
feel
saying,
it. You
like,
just
if you
don't see
get
it.
good at sleight of hand in some way and being able to do it without gaffs, then when you slip one into it, you're not handling it like a
Mhm.
gaff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if you heard this story. I think you might have.
I
The
don't think so.
Copperfield
No.
story that I have. So to me, this was. I mean, like I said, I believe in that. It's something that I've always believed in, but it was after that specific day that I really realized that okay, you know, this is true. So when I was in Vegas, uh, I got invited to watch the Copperfield show. Chris Kenner invited some friends, and we hung out and we watched the Copperfield show. But before the show, literally like 5 minutes before the show started, um, Kenner came and said like, "Hey, Avi, um, I've got some good news and bad news. Well, depends on how you think bad news is, but basically, I've got two newses. Um, which one you want to hear?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Just tell me. Like, you're stressing me out now." It's like, okay, good news is after the show, David's gonna bring everyone to his museum, and we're gonna do a museum tour. I'm like, oh, great. And so I was like really pumped. And then he's like, oh, the bad news is after the show, just sit there, wait for all the guests to clear, but just stay there. David's gonna come out. He wants to see you perform. And I'm like, why'd you have to tell me that right before the show? Now I'm gonna stress out the entire time thinking about what am I gonna show David, right? So I thought long and hard. And I think that was like 2022 or something. So at that time, the thing that I would go to if I really wanted to full and press someone was the coin vanish, this one, right? So that was the first thing I did. So when David came out and I was like getting ready, and I'm like, okay, okay. So I took a coin, right? That coin obviously was carved and giving. I just placed it and I did that, show both sides of the hands. And David's reaction was next. I'm like, wait, did I do something wrong? Like, am I missing something? And then I'm like, okay, okay. So and I moved on. I did some Harada whole thing, like hard hitting stuff, and he was next. I'm like, okay. So I ran through, I mean, it's the same routine, same pattern. I ran through like three, four, five other routines, and every single thing is just next, next, next. And I'm like, okay, that's it. That's all I have. I'm done. And then David just sits there for a second, quiet, and said, "Can I look at the first coin vanish again?" And I'm like, "Yes, I know that because that means that it was good enough that he wants to see it again." But this time, it just hit me. I'm like, if I do it the same way with the gimmick, with the Garth, then there is a high chance that he will figure it out because I mean he's seen so much magic. He's so knowledgeable, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this. So I took Homer's coin. It's like, can I borrow a coin? Borrow the coin, and I did this sleight of hand version. And it was January. It was January. Uh, I was in the jacket, so I just did the vanish, and then I sleeved it as I did that, and I show both hands again, and he's like, no idea how it works. Great job. Yes. So I mean, so because of that, now I'm like it's cemented in my head. Like I know, there. I wouldn't say one is better than the other, but the good magician should be able to, at pick the right one for the right situation. Yeah, that was my
No, but it's
favorite
also really
Copperfield
interesting you say
story.
that. Like, talking about first magic books or DVDs, like one of my first books ever was the Guy Hollingworth book, Drawing Room Deceptions. Also, not knowing that
uh,
that should be a difficult book. Yeah, man. It's such a good book. Such a good book.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I love the fact. I mean, that book is so interesting. I mean, obviously for the fact it's so um, difficult, difficult. But also because if I think if you remember, I hate reading books. Like
Yes,
they're like my
yes.
sleeping pill. I would just read like two lines and I'm like. But that book is one of the first few books that I just read through because of I mean, the way he writes, but like in his preface.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sneaky little thing that he did. Yeah, I love stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but
So
even like that
I
book
love
also
that book.
talks about like different ways for different situations how to like approach a trick, right? So like you have the waving the aces, which is like that close up
Mhm.
version, which is beautiful. But then also like, hey, here's how you do it in parlor. And I think that book was the first time also when I realized like, okay, you need different methods for different moments, different scenarios. Yeah.
Scenarios, yeah, I completely agree. And also when it comes to different scenarios, different versions, I think also as a current 21st century magician, we should embrace. Uh, I think this is something that we can discuss. I think it's a good topic as well. But like, we should embrace social media magic. It might not be necessarily the most practical in person, but I think for me at least, this is my opinion. A good magician should have a good repertoire of online magic that's just done for online, but then a live version with a similar effect. So the online one is done so that people see you online because everyone's just online now. And if you can grab their attention online, then it diverts
Yes.
them to your live show. And then you could do a similar effect. Because I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't do like those video only magic. But I'm like, hey, that's a platform. Like if you don't
Yeah,
do
I
it, you're
think
losing
I think
out.
many people are just purists in some sense, where they go like, no, everything I do should be practical in person. I guess there's something to say for that. But I think what it boils down to is, like you say, it's like the scenario that you're performing. Now it's like, now the medium is a camera. And the truth is just, you get to see so much stuff through the camera. And yeah, the same trick that's going to impress someone and make them scream in a bar is just not going to cut it through Instagram, because A, it's not going to hold their attention. And B, they go like, oh yeah, so what? Like, it needs to be hyper visual. You know, it's like the same thing with television.
Yeah.
I mean, David Blaine, of
Mhm.
course, got away with it because he was one of the first that turned the camera on the person to do close-up magic. But nowadays in TV shows, we cannot do the same card trick we would do with walk-around gigs. Like, it's just not going to be interesting enough. It's
For
not
sure.
going to be
Yeah.
captivating enough. It's not even strong enough. It's people go like, oh yeah, camera trick.
Right. You know, all of these are just a deliberate excuse for me for my magic. I'm just making myself
Yes, yes,
relevant.
you should, Evi. The most irrelevant person in the room.
No, but I mean, I agree. It's something that I live by, and I I I, I really think it's important to embrace new change. Obviously, when it comes to magic, when it comes to live shows, like you're mentioning, you know, reliability is very important. But I think every magician should have different repertoires, different variations of the same trick. Not just for like different because it's videos or something, but you know, I mean, I'm not sure whether you do that, but like, do you have any tricks in your show, like live shows, where you jazz?
Well, not necessarily, but like I also wrote something for my Substack about this today. Is that like I'm performing this month at a venue called Scala, and basically you get to do 3 20-minute shows each
Hmm.
night. So every night I get to perform for 20 minutes 3 times, and there's like a 40-minute break in between each show. And that's the perfect place to work in new material, right? And I was working on this slot machine routine where there's
Right.
one ditch which goes into the breast pocket, which of course sometimes you miss. And I started to notice in the beginning, like, well, the response is not as strong as I thought it would be. So what's this up with? And then I was like, oh, because I am so worried about it missing the pocket that when I'm getting the wand from underneath my elbow, or underneath my armpits to ditch the coin, all my attention is focused there. So even if the audience doesn't see the ditch, like they can feel the ditch because my attention is towards the pocket.
Yeah.
So then I decided, okay, you know
Right.
what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go completely just look at the audience. If it falls, it falls. Which happened 2 out of 6 times.
Hmm.
But the point
Right.
is that like it became much better from just like ignoring that and just doing it. And then when it fell, I was like, okay, what do I do now? Yeah, then I had to jazz out of it. I had to just pick up the coin, do a normal vanish, hold it into finger palm, and then as I was getting the second coin, like transfer it into a classic palm as I get the second coin, which then goes into finger palm to make no sound. And since the magic wand was there, I could cover it with the magic wand and have the hand be natural. So I guess not so much jazzing, but knowing more about different types of magic tricks and different types of magic allowed me in those situations to be like, okay, so I fucked up. How do I fix this? Which honestly
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes
you'll
just
be
literally
surprised.
goes as you're doing it. You know, like sometimes you're just doing a move and you don't have a full solution yet.
You're pretty much summing up my journey.
But you'll be surprised how far you can go with
But
that.
yeah, exactly. I mean, have you played this game with Harapan? Where he has like cards, different cards, and he writes like different things on them. And then as you're performing, like in let's say it's a jam or something, and you were performing, and then suddenly he would just cut the deck, and it's like he just raises up, and then you have to look at something, and then now you have to incorporate whether it's a pattern or whether it's a technique, and then now
No,
you
I've
have to
never done that, but that
do that
sounds
technique.
fun.
It's fun. That is very fun. So imagine like I don't know, like your routine. Let's say we're doing a matrix chink chink, and then he cuts the cards and he brings it up muscle pass. So you're like, well, how do I incorporate a muscle pass into this routine as you're performing? Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, but I
Oh
think
yeah,
like it's a good thing as well to play with that, and it makes you trust your own abilities a bit more, and makes you creative, right? In some ways.
yeah. It makes you think of your feet, which I think is one of the most important things like a magician needs. Being quick on your feet, being able to adapt to different scenarios
And I
as they
think that
happen
that also
in
comes
live
down
shows.
to like the whole thing you said about different magic for different scenarios, because if you understand what makes that trick good for that scenario and why it is deceptive in that scenario, you understand the trick inside out, right? So then you're able to adapt it to whatever you want, and like you can fix it with the techniques you already have, as long as you stay within the deception lines, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree to that.
Hey, so I was
I'm just,
also I was
yeah,
also wondering, other than magic, you're very much into photography. You have also other hobbies than just being a
yes,
nerd in your room playing with coins. You have a life.
I have a life. Yes,
Sweet.
yes, I have a life. Yeah,
How yeah, how did that like
yeah. What about
influence your
photography? You
magic
want to know?
in any way?
Well, I would love to say that it's influenced my magic. I think it has influenced my magic, but I wouldn't say for sure it has influenced my magic. It's just one of those things that, to be fair, almost any interview that I take, if the interviewer knows I do photography, they would say like, "Hey, um, I heard you're a great photographer. That must influence your magic." But to me, in my head, I'm like, does it really? I don't know. But okay, but I've actually sat down and thought about this. I don't think it has a direct influence for sure, but if I were to pick out one influence that I say I think it has is being able to frame,
Right, right.
just like a composition, like a picture. Like you've seen me perform, I suck at patter, I suck at talking, but when it comes to framing visual moments, like I know exactly how I want my
Right.
thing to look. Just like a photographer, when he sees a scene, he knows like that. Oh, I know I'm going to shoot it from here. It's the same, like like a production. People do productions like this, but then when I set off and just made up my mind to try and like come up with a
So
production,
do
I
you
wanted it to
also
be
get
like,
like a mental image for yourself when you're doing it? Like you can already see yourself do. Okay,
yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah, yeah. So for me, that's if anything, if there's any sort of like influence, it'll be that. Like I know I have a mental image of how I want to achieve that magic. Not in terms of method wise, but how I
Yes, yes.
want it to look like. And then I will work my way
Hmm.
to achieve said.
I think that's important as well. Like you get a certain sense of like, hey, I want this thing to look like this or like that, and then to have this specific feeling to it. So I guess like from what you're saying, you didn't necessarily, you're not going like, well, the composition thing states that it should be like so, and that's so useful for magic. But you're going like,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
it's
no,
more
no,
like an
no.
intuition kind of thing that's transferred on to magic automatically. But maybe that's more because you look at the world now in this through this lens.
Yeah, I also think, you don't need to be a photographer to get like attain this skill. I think if you watch lots of movies, for example, and if you have a hobby in terms of watching movies, you like different colors, different scenes, you would soon develop like a your own taste. And there's no right or wrong in this kind of thing, but you develop your own taste. You develop how you like or prefer a movie to be shot. uh like some movies speaks to you more than some others, and then I think with that, it's just the same sense or skill. You just look at your magic and just think to yourself like, how would I want to frame my moment. Like a review could just be like that, but it could also be like just that drop or rise. It would have like a different effect to whoever's watching it.
I love
So
that, man. Like there is this one thing in the Vernon books, like I think it's from Nate Leipzig, where Leipzig just literally talks about like 5 or 6 pages on how to turn over a card.
well, I haven't read that before, but
I'll
that would
send
be
it
an
to you
interesting
if I can
read.
find it. But again, like
Okay.
that's like you're saying, it's super interesting. Like but it also has to do with like how do you build attention, what do you want it to look like, and also a bit of, it
Mhm.
shows a bit of confidence, I think, if you can turn over the card like slowly as opposed to going like bam.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And I think also obviously it has to do with the moment, like how you want the audience to like receive that effect. Spends slow. If you're flipping over, I don't know, like 13 reviews, then you probably wouldn't want to do everything like that. You would like
Oh,
bam,
that's a
bam.
good point.
Yeah. So I think it really
But I
depends.
guess if
But
you're having like 30 reveals,
yeah,
like you want all of them to sort of build up where they just cannot like applaud, and then for the last one you want the climax, so you just go very slow and they go, "What the?"
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think if anything, that's how photography has
So
influenced.
following that question, like,
I mean,
who is your biggest influence outside of magic
outside of magic, so non-magic related, yeah,
or
influence.
inspiration?
Well, I have inspirations for photographers. I have inspirations for magic. When I'm not doing either, I just like to go out, just have good fun. I genuinely, strongly believe that inspiration comes from anywhere and everywhere. So just because, I mean, like it doesn't work for me if I want to create something, it doesn't work for me to want to sit down in a place and just force myself to think. So in terms of like inspirations or anything, I don't have a specific person like outside magic or outside photography that I look up to. I just go out, just like, enjoy, see the world, and
You're
they
so
just come to you.
philosophical, man. My inspiration is life. AVI YAP.
Nah. Well, or you can say my inspiration is whiskey. That's
That's
what
what we
we
call
call
life, huh?
creative juice. Yeah, exactly.
I
Well,
got kicked out of my
you got
life.
kicked out by
Yes, I got
life.
kicked out of the Ruskin because I was carrying life with me. Jeez,
That's hilarious. Yeah,
that's so stupid.
so
Welcome
stupid.
to Blackball.
Jesus.
Oh well.
Welcome to my
No, but I
world.
think like I think what I hear you say also is that like when you're working on an idea, I guess like you have a moment when you go like, okay, how is this working, right? And then you sort of you let it go, and then maybe as you're going on throughout your day or you're going out, like it hits you again, like how to solve problems.
Yeah, and I would say 10 out of 10 times whenever I'm getting it like a creative block, the best thing to do is just give up,
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
about it. I mean, not give up in terms of like really give up, but just stop. Just
No, I
do
think for
something
me
else.
that's the exact same way. Like I'm thinking about a routine or a presentation, and I'm like, how would I ever present this in a way that like would fit to me? Just torture myself for like half an hour and being like, no, I have to sit down, I have to do this. And just getting nowhere. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go play some video games, or I'm gonna go outside, meet my friends, go to a bar. And then you're just on the way to the bar and just like, oh, that's how I would do it. You just write it down and then you get
Right?
home later and you
Yeah.
work it out.
I mean, it's exactly what happens to you.
But I think we also fell in love, some people, with this idea of like, oh, you need to be this one obsessed artist that's constantly like chaotic and in his head just working on the art and on the thing that he's doing.
Well,
Of course.
some people work like that, right? But I think
No, but
I
that's
don't.
that's the
You
takeaway.
don't.
There is different ways to make art, if you want to call this art or stuff, sleight of hand, magic.
Exactly.
Like not everyone has the same process.
Yeah,
Just like you and I don't
exactly.
think the same about things. If you magic the same. No, you know, because like I remember
Well, at
like
least,
sometimes I show you an idea and sometimes I go, this is crap. And you go, what did you just do? That was amazing. And sometimes I show you something and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fool the heck out of Avi. And then when I'm done, you go, that's it? And I go, yep. And you go,
cool.
okay.
That's cute. Yeah, yeah. I feel the same. Sometimes I show you something and you're like, I'm like, what? That's the most
Yeah.
amazing thing to me.
But it's so funny because like it's also like the opposite, you know, like sometimes you just do something random and someone go, wait, do it again. You go, what? This is just like this thing we all know about. And they go, no, man, this is like the most incredible thing I've ever seen. It's the hardest thing that fooled me this year. You go, how?
Yeah. Talking about that, do you know this thing? Have you seen this?
Ooh.
I mean, like that was the thing that I did was like, I was practicing it so hard, my thumbs hurt. So I just decided to do the easy way out. And when I did it for magicians, and they're like, "Whoa," and I'm like, how? Like, why did that fool you
Yeah,
more?
a layperson just goes, it's in the other hand.
Uh, Yeah, right? Yeah. And then you just,
But it's sort of a
but
weird
yeah, I
thing
mean,
where like we have extra knowledge, and then sometimes that can be used to such a regard where like the easiest method ever we don't think about. As
pretty
someone does
much, yeah.
something like this and they go,
Yeah.
wait, but how did, and it doesn't even come up like, dude, it's in the other hand.
Yeah. I'm also a strong believer of simple hits the hardest
How would
when
you
done
define
right.
simple in that regard though?
So I mean, there was a phase in my journey where, everything that I do not necessarily has to, but I have the tendency to like it being difficult. Uh, because I'm trying to make myself feel accomplished, like I'm doing something. But then when I met Chris Kenner and he just showed me stuff and like just straight on 2 hours, my mind was just blowing. Just like, but every time he explains it to me how it works, it's just the most simplest thing ever. It's like what you say, because we have said knowledge, extra knowledge in our head, and that sometimes like blinds us. So I mean, just take that coin vanish as an example. Like he would do something like this to me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's vanished from both hands! How? It's a visual. Like you would think like, is it like a pull, like a gimmick that just pulls it somewhere? Like wow, is it sleeving? It's just drop. That's it. But like he would say like the best methods are the ones that is the easiest, the most straightforward, because no one would think that you're gonna do that.
True. Yeah, but I think also like it's good you touch on simplicity, but like because the way I always speak about simplicity, sometimes I go, yeah, it's very simple when I do something, and people go, what do you mean simple? Like you're doing double deals and bottom deals. And I go, oh, no, sorry. Let me explain. I mean, simple in concept. When the audience
Yeah,
sees this
yeah,
thing, it's very
yeah.
easy for them to understand and to get what is going on. And they're not like confused, like, I guess I counted 17 cards on the table, and then under the table, I went to the 37th card because of this thing, and that was my selection, and then it was, I guess that's not possible. Where it's like a coin vanishing. They go, what the fuck? Where's the coin?
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, like I have the same problem with you. Like whenever I explain something to magicians, I say, yeah, it's simple. Just look at this. And they're like, what the hell do you mean simple? You're clipping a coin somewhere that's not possible to be clipped anyway. And I'm like, no. It's simple because like what you said, it's not that the method is simple, but the concept, the idea, and more importantly, what the spectator perceives is simple, easy to understand. And I'm lucky that one of the things that I can attribute most of my like success, I wouldn't say I'm successful, but like the iconic few vanishes and productions that I came up with, it's because it's simple. Like it doesn't use like I'm gonna put the coin in this hand and then rub it in this. No, it's just
Yeah, but
water
that's
close,
what makes
boom,
it so
done.
beautiful. Like it's like,
Like
okay, there's nothing
yeah,
that could have gone. It's just like literally just going like this, and people go, "What?"
it's not.
Like the other hand didn't come near it. It's not there. But this hand is empty. Where's the coin?
Yeah, and even for the production, just like so.
Yeah, and there's also like I mean, there is in some cases some proving of the hands being empty, but I don't feel like there is necessarily over proving when you're doing things. It's not like 1,000 hand washes to
Mm,
show, hey,
yeah,
look, it's really gone, guys.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes I don't even do the hand wash. I just go, "Oh, you want to see something?"
Which is enough. Like you showing your
Because I
hand
mean,
empty like this is
that
already
of
like
itself,
this thing is empty.
yeah. And then with just one finger, I just do that. It's more
And
than
that's also
enough.
why
I
I
don't
like
need
it
to prove.
always like you putting your glasses up is this very similar thing where it's like, okay,
Yeah,
this proves it's empty.
yeah,
Which if I would do it would be weird.
exactly. Shit,
It's the
you just gave
glasses,
away my
guys.
secret.
Get terrible. Are they even real, Avi? Do you
It's
even
the
have terrible
glasses.
eyesight?
Uh, Well, that's a mystery that I will not expose on air.
Sweet. Hey, I just asked you like who your biggest like inspiration outside of magic is, but then who would it be inside of magic?
Inside of magic. Well, inspiration. I think there are a few people that I can name. Inspirations in terms of like he makes me think that I can do shit too. Cyril, not just because he's my boss. I've read his life story and seen where he came from and the things that he has to go through in order to be where he is, and just that tenacity of not giving up. Like that inspires me. In terms of creativity, bias,
Definitely.
Dostal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tobias. I love you, but you're a son of a
We
bitch.
can both agree to that.
Like every time you come out with something, you I mean, you yeah, I love you so much because every time I see you, like you blow my mind, but you're a son of a bitch because whenever I see how it's done, I'm like, why didn't I even think of
It's
that?
so good, man. So creative.
Like,
But also the way he
yeah, I
does
mean,
it, right?
he
Like the
he
pantomime of his is so good.
yeah, he would be the magician that 5-year-old Avi would be most excited to see, to watch. Like not just his tricks, but the way he presents himself, like his character. It's just I just love it.
I think he's also one of the
But
magicians that
yes, I mean,
27-year-old Rico is still very happy to see all the time.
yeah, yeah. 29-year-old Avi is also very excited to see him. Tobias. No, I love him, man. He's great. He's definitely an inspiration for me. I mean, I love the stuff he does. Who else? At the top of my head, recently, Derek the Guardian. I mean, he's always been one of the magicians that I always just love to watch. And obviously, I watch it on itself. You know, I've watched his show before with Hilda Gomez. I do his truffle stuff. But he's one of those magicians that just, unfortunately, like, I get really obsessed with for a while and then just fades away. But then when it comes back, I'm like, he's still good. Like you know, some magicians when it fades around, and then when you look back at it, you're like,
Yeah.
why was I impressed with that stuff? But Derek is like, no matter like 10, 20 years later, and you look back at his stuff, you still be
Dude,
like,
it's something you're watching as a kid,
that's the
right?
job.
Like when I got into magic, I watched some shit, and now I'm looking at it, I'm like, why was this ever good?
I cringe so much when I watch my old videos at my archive, not just at the squeaking voice, but yeah. I mean, the reason why I said Derek DeCardio because when I was in tenants, I picked up his book, The Immoral Man, right? Posted it, and I didn't know if I was going to like the book because it
And
was not
and
a
it's a
magic
book.
book.
You
It
don't
was
like
just
reading.
like a. It was more like a yeah. Yeah, I don't like reading. It's not a magic book. I mean, it's already a combination for disaster for me. It's like an autobiography. I mean, not strictly, but kind of similar. And then I'm like, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. It was and start. Open the first page, less than 2 days. I think it was one and a half, and it was 200 over pages just blasted
I
through.
had the same thing, man. Like I
Oh,
remember when it came out, like I got it immediately, and I was still working for the government at that time, like on the call center. And I just remember like waking up at 6 o'clock and like just reading a little bit because I was curious, right? And just like couldn't stop reading until I really had to leave for work. Probably got even late at work. And then as soon as my break hit, just like fucking went to the break room, started reading again,
yeah.
just went home, cooked some food really quickly, and just read until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that is one of those rare books that not that I will make time to read it, but more than that, I would be uncomfortable if I know that I
Yes,
don't
I
have
agree.
time to
Yeah.
read it. And I was like, shit, I need to read it. I need to like it's just I don't know.
It's like I don't know. I think I could also just like
It was it
not read
was
it, you know, because like my mind was just like preoccupied with like okay, what's gonna happen, and I never had that again with any book.
you, Same. To be fair, yeah, I agree. I've never had that with any book. Have you met Derek before? I heard he lives in New York, but I'm not sure if he
I wouldn't be
still lives
surprised
in
if
New
he
York,
does.
right?
I also don't really know what he's been up to after like
I
his
would love
show, you
to.
know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, on according to Google, he is what's that called? He does for I think for Disney, like he's some sort of like
Okay.
writer or something. So I think he must be busy. But yeah, Zero told me he watched In of Itself 2 times. It was so good that he went to watch 2 times. Yeah, and I'm just so envious because I would
Dude,
kill
if
to
I
watch
knew
that
how
show
good it would have
live.
been, like, I mean, when it was out, I wasn't good enough at Magic or far enough yet, I think. But if I would have known then how good it was, like, I would have just
Mm,
flown to New York just to see that show.
exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. Well, if only I knew, I would have flown to New York just for that.
Well, usually it's like that's a crazy thing to do, usually, right? Like, you're going to New York just for one thing. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
worth it.
it's worth it.
It's the experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, I just recently came back from New York, but I haven't seen any shows. I mean, I was there with my girlfriend, meeting her friends, seeing where she grew up. Um, but yeah, maybe the next time when I go back and it's a little bit more leisure, I would
I would
love to
love
see
to see
some
Steve
shows.
Cohen perform.
Yeah, I have his name card that he gave it to me. It's so luxurious. So I would love to see his show as well. But I heard it's
No, I
not
think it's
cheap.
like
So
$175. Yeah. Well, I
per
think those are
person?
like the most expensive seats. But as far as I remember, but I might be wrong. Like the cheapest tickets are close to $100 per person.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Plus
I'm sure
it's
it's
New
worth it.
York, right? So
So it's worth it. Yeah. Or I can just
hey,
ask
sir. Hey,
Daryl.
you know what I would wish for my birthday?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That's so good. Hey, so as a final thing for the podcast, I was wondering like what are the tricks or what is maybe the trick like that is not yours that you just love performing for lay people?
That is not mine. Well, that's a really difficult question because I don't really perform my material anymore. I'm what they call the magician's magician, right? Like most of the stuff I do is pretty much designed for magicians. But I would say the thing that I like to do that's not mine, which is easy because I don't do my stuff, but for lay people, two things that just pops right into my head. Leviosa, that just kills. Like, like really, I don't even know what to say about the effect. Like to me, that kills. And optics to buy some
Optics is
stuff.
so cool, dude. Like I don't think my character could ever get away with optics the way I perform, but I I just love the paradoxical nature of that effect where they filmed their own phone
Yeah, yeah,
vanish
yeah.
on their own. It's like what? It's like I saw your phone. Like yeah, like this. It's even
How does that?
difficult. It's such a weird thing where it's like it's even sort of difficult to explain what exactly happens. But when you see it, you know exactly what happened.
Yeah, right. You're like,
It's like
wait,
yeah,
what?
I filmed my own phone vanish.
Yeah. I mean, mind the language, but it fucks you up on so many levels.
Yeah, man.
Pretty much.
Like it
It's
was great because I got to see Tobias do that like not four, 8 different times for lay people. Which yeah,
just kills you.
it's also funny because different people realize at different moments that it's their phone.
Right. Has anyone like realized it
I
way
think it
before the
happened
magic
once in all
happens,
those
or
8 times that someone sort of had the suspicion that it was, but that would have been so impossible that they sort of just like threw away that option. But then the moment that the phone really disappeared and he was like, yeah, can you see it? They were like, yeah, I'm holding it. What the fuck? You know, so the realization immediately came to them like, yeah, I'm holding my phone. What? How am I holding my phone? And like, what the fuck has
that's not
happened? It's
bad.
so funny.
Yeah, to optics, it's to me because I have small hands, so it's always quite a nerve wreck for me to perform that effect. But
Yeah.
every time I do it,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, no, wait. I had
yeah.
one more question actually before we wrap this up. which is like who are like some of the more like the lesser known people that other people should look into, like magic wise. Yeah,
Lesser
like so
known.
for example, you know, from Coin Ludens, like Fuki, I think his name is.
Yeah. Bro, he's lesser known maybe to you guys, but he's a megastar hit. No, I mean, yeah, he pretty much is like it's really yeah. Fuki in terms of coin magic. Okay, I'll start in different. Coin magic, Fuki for sure. And his friend called Ral, Rall. He's also in Coin Ludens. Jonio is great. He's not just good in coins, he's good with cards as well. I mean, I'm not sure if he is. He's definitely not like mainstream famous, but Arthur Chabadre,
Dude, Arthur, fucking
that guy
hell.
just kills me.
Like, dude, like we were at
Anything he
Blackpool and you were
does.
like, oh yeah, Rico, this is Arthur. Arthur, can you show him the thing with the many coins? And he just like given that I was a bit tipsy, okay, but I literally just have this like little pile of like 5 coins or 6 coins on my hands, and he just starts picking them up and then put them back on my other hand. But like all of a sudden I have 4 on my other hand, and he picks them up again, puts them on my left hand, and there's 3, and then they're just all gone. And I'm like, what the fuck is
Right.
going on? I'm just like, this is so weird and magical. I haven't felt this in such a long time, because it literally just looks like this. And I just look at you and I look back at him, and like,
Yeah.
you sort of look at him like, can I tell what it is? And he goes, sure, go ahead. And you go, yeah, Rico, he's sleeving the coins. And I go, what? But what? Like, it's like,
Yeah,
dude,
just you
it's
don't
fucking
see-
literally like
you
he
don't
just picks it
feel
up like
anything.
this. Like his fingertips don't move. Like there's nothing like this going on. Like no big movement. It's just like very soft. Just
Yeah, Arthur. I mean, have you watched the video where he does this and then the coin just?
yeah.
He is or was an inspiration for me. The reason why he didn't come to mind as an inspiration for me, because he just demoralized me so much at Blackpool. Like his offer is way too good.
He's so good. It's offensive.
But yeah, I mean, he's great. Yeah, anything he does is just so good. And he doesn't just do coins. Like that's the thing. Like his thread work, you know, with Venom, his card stuff, which doesn't really show too much, but it's crazy. Like all the things he does. So yeah, Arthur is definitely one that, you know, people, if they're interested, should look at. Who else?
No one's coming to mind.
No one's coming to mind.
It's difficult to top
No one's
Arthur.
coming to mind. Yeah, I mean, Arthur. I'm just looking at the books if I see anyone.
Bizarre,
I mean,
yeah.
Bizarre Christian. He's
Right,
quite
yeah.
underrated.
I think less people know him than they should.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's like a. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's like a performer, because I've never seen him perform. So I'm not saying that he's a bad performer. It's just I haven't seen it. But in terms of like card slides, like Dan and Dave era kind of card slides, I would say he's practically
for
a
sure.
god. Like the amount of stuff that he
And that
comes
he
up
can
with,
actually do.
he could actually
I
do.
just remember like being at Blackpool with Biz, and at one point he just goes like, "Hey Rico, can I get your opinion on something?" I go, "Sure." You go, "Okay, I'm going to show you a few things, and you're just going to rate them from like 0 to 10." And I'm like, "Okay, he's going to show me like 3 things or something." He just does like 20 fucking things in a row, and they're all amazing. Like they're all like 7 plus, and it's like all these weird pop out moves and palms. Like he just goes like this, like. And he has a card and palm, and like it comes from seconds from the top, but it's just like this.
Yeah, Bizarre. I think more people. I mean, he deserves more recognition.
All right, man. So then I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast. We almost hit the 1 hour mark, so that's a great time, I think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, thank you
appreciate
for
this.
having
This
me.
was great. So I'm going to start the recording now. And
Yeah.